Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. In today's video, it's gonna be like a little book review for books 11 through 15, which means I'm officially on the last 5 books of my reading 20 books before I turn 18, and I'm so happy and I'm so excited. And don't mind the mascara under my eye, it's been a long day. Okay, and I just finished this one book that I'm gonna share, and it took a lot out of me. Okay, so the first book I finished reading was An Abundance of Catherines by John Green. And let's see, I started it on December 4th, and then I got halfway through it on the 1st, and then I finished it on January 5th. So on the little back, it says, 19 Catherines and counting. When it comes to relationships, Colin Singleton's type is girls named Catherine. When it comes to girls named Catherine, Colin is always getting dumped, 19 times to be exact. On a road trip miles from home, this anagram, happy, washed-up child prodigy has $10,000 in his pocket. A bloodthirsty, frugal hog on his trail, and an overweight Judge Judy loving best friend riding shotgun, but no Catherines. Colin is on a mission to prove the theorem of underlying Catherine predictability, which he hopes will predict the future of any relationship and avenge dumpies everywhere, and maybe finally win him the girl. So for my little review, this book has 19 chapters, 215 pages, and I gave it a 3 out of 10. I said it wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. I liked the boys' friendship, but how they made a safe word. Yeah, and how they made a safe word, and the ending was cute. To be honest, I don't remember anything about this book, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, the next one is Star Wars: A New Hope. And let's see, I started it on December 7th, got halfway through it on January 8th, and finished it on January 29th. And A New Hope says, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, on a remote desert planet of Tatooine, Luke Skywalker grows restless with his life on his uncle's moisture farm. But Luke gets much more than he bargained for when he stumbles upon a distress call from a fleeting rebellion, a message intended for an old Jedi master living in exile. So let's see. This is by George Lucas, obviously. It's 260 pages, and I gave it a 3 out of 5. So it was good, but it was low-key boring. The banter between the Georges was funny, and I think the movie is better because it's more fast-paced. It's very slow. So yeah. Okay, so the third one is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. And I started it on January 8th, and then I got halfway through it on February 4th. That makes no sense. Oh, and then I finished it on February 24th. I think that's what that means. I have a little sticky note of just like dates, and I either didn't put the date or the month on there, and I don't know. They're all out of order, but it's okay. So on the back, it's a long one, so hold your horses. It says rival physicists collide in a vortex of academic feuds and fake dating shenanigans. In this delightful STEMist rom-com from a New York Times best-selling author of The Love Hypothesis and Love on the Brain. The many lives of theoretical physicist Elsie Hanaway have finally caught up with her. By day, she's an professor trolling away at grading labs and teaching girl, I'm dyslexic, in hopes of landing a tenure. By other day, Elsie makes up her non-existent paycheck by offering her services as a fake girlfriend and tapping into her desperately people-pleasing skills to embody whichever version of herself the client needs. Honestly, it's a pretty sweet gig until her carefully constructed Elsie-verse comes crashing down because Jack Smith, the annoyingly attractive and arrogant older brother of her favorite client, turns out to be the cold-hearted experimental physicist who ruined her mentor's career and undermined the reputation of theorists everywhere. And he's the same Jack Smith who ruled over the physics department at MIT, standing right between Elsie and her dream job. Elsie prepared for an all-out war of scholarly sabotage, but those long, penetrating looks, not having to be anything other than her true self when she's with him. Will she fall into an experimentalist's orbit, finally tempt her to put her most guarded theories on love into practice? Sorry, I told you it was a long one. So this book has 384 pages and 26 chapters, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. And I said, I loved the book and how relatable Elsie was, and how you can tell Jack loved her from the start. I spelled loved wrong. Oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Anyway, also how it wasn't clear who Jonathan was until Jack came in. Oh, spoiler. These aren't spoiler free, because if you've ever watched one of these, you should know that by now. Okay, next is After Ever Happy by Anna Todd. This book I started this book on February 4th. Oh wait, shoot, no, hold on. No, yeah, I started it on February 4th. I got halfway through it on February 17th, and I finished it on February 27th. And on the back, it says, Tessa and Hardin have enough surprises, or have had enough surprises. Their bond is stronger than ever, but every new challenge they face stakes their foundation. In Hardin impermeable facade to the core, as the shocking truth about each of their families emerges. It's clear the two lovers are not so different from each other. Tessa is no longer the sweet, simple, good girl she was when she met Hardin, any more than he is the cruel, moody boy she fell so hard for. Tessa understands all the troubling emotions brewing within Hardin, and she knows she's the only person who can calm him when he erupts. He needs her. But the more layers of his past come to light, the darker he grows, and the harder he pushes Tessa and anyone else in his life away. After all this time, Tessa's not sure if she can save him, not without sacrificing herself. Is love worth losing her identity? She refuses to go down without a fight. But who is she really fighting for? Hardin or herself? So this book has 500 pages and 79 chapters and one epilogue, or plus an epilogue. And I gave it a 2.5 stars. And I said I didn't like all the time jumps and how everything Tessa said she was done. Wait. And every time Tessa said she was done with Hardin, she got with him 2 weeks later. Also, I didn't like how they slept together at Landon's wedding. Also, how Tessa made her mistakes seem as big as Hardin's. So, like, she tried to make it seem like how when they were broken up, she used Zed in a way. She tried to compare that to, like, him getting drunk all the time and saying all these mean things to her. Like, she tried to make that seem as big as that, and I didn't like it because I felt like Tessa, even though she did kind of use Zed to get to Hardin, I feel like that just wasn't as big of a deal as the stuff Hardin does to her, because Hardin is literally abusive. And, you know, I cannot believe that these books are fan fiction of Harry Styles, because my Harry Styles, when these were written, I think he was still in One Direction. But Harry Styles in One Direction and not in One Direction would never do the stuff Hardin does. Which is why, like, I don't believe it's a real fan fiction of him, because no way someone could write that about Harry. Because Harry would never disrespect someone like that, ever. Anyway, I'm not even that big of a Harry Styles fan. So the book I just finished today is Daisy Jones and the Six. And let's see. So I started it on February 28th. I got halfway through it on March 10th, and then I just finished it. Well, it's after midnight, so technically I finished it yesterday, but I've been up, so I finished it today. On the 22nd. So this is Daisy, did I say the author? Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So it says, Daisy is a girl coming of age in LA in the 60s, sneaking into clubs on the Sunset Strip, sleeping with rock stars, and dreaming of singing all the whiskey a go-go. I don't know what that is. Her voice is getting noticed, and she has the kind of heedless beauty that makes people go crazy. Also getting noticed is the Six, a band led by the brooding Billy Dunn. On the eve of their first tour, his girlfriend, Camilla, finds out she's pregnant. And with the pressures of the impending fatherhood and fame, Billy goes a little wild on the road. Daisy and Billy cross paths when a producer realizes the key to supercharged success is putting the two together. What happens next will become the stuff of legend. The making of the legend is chronicled in this revelating, I don't know, novel written as if it were the oral history of one of the biggest bands in the 70s. In Daisy Jones and the Six, Taylor Jenkins Reid brilliantly captures an unforgettable place and time in an utter distant voice. Yeah. So anyway, this has 333 pages, and it doesn't really have chapters. It has like sections. But yeah. So I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I said, I really loved this book and the way she wrote about 2 addicts, how they are like different but the same. I'll explain that. Also, I can relate to Daisy and by how she's in love with a guy who is already taken. And the only thing I didn't like was like the whole pregnancy trope, which I've realized like a pattern in Taylor's writing. But anyway, so what I mean by she writes about 2 addicts who they're so different. Like, they started becoming addicts not at the same time, but for different reasons, but like at the core it's the same. So like Daisy started doing drugs because she was young and sneaking out and doing all this stuff, and Billy became an addict when he found out he was going to be a father, and he was stressing about it because he didn't have a good relationship with his father. But at the end, like, they really are just the same. If that makes sense. Like, I don't really know how to explain it. Like, yeah. But that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Honestly, out of these books, the ones that I would recommend if you want a really good book is probably Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This book was really good. I did fall in love with Jack a little bit. And Daisy Jones and the Six, because this book was also really good. The other ones, not that they're not good reads, it's just these 2 are more captivating than those ones. So, if you want to read any of these books, these 2 are the ones I would get. But yeah, juices. The next one will be the last one of this challenge, which is crazy. Should I tell you what books I have left? I should. Okay. So the books that I have left. Oh, and if you want to know like the rules of this challenge that I set for myself, if you want to do it, look at the first I think it's like the first review. Yeah. Okay. So I have Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back by George Lucas, Before by Anna Todd, Star Wars: Return of the Jedi by George Lucas, and then Bridgerton, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton by Julia Quinn, which I'm almost halfway finished. And for 2024, I kind of set this goal for myself that I was going to read 2 books a month. So by the end of the year, I would have read 24 books. Yeah. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. Again, juices. Stop recording.